Happy 4th of July, good friends, and welcome. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about independence, the difference between the expression of all humans are created equal in the beginning of the Declaration of Independence and the fact that that simply was not so. There's something, I must say, good about what followed thereafter. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, meaning humans, are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When John Locke essentially introduced those ideas in his writings, he said life, liberty, and the pursuit of property as opposed to happiness. Can you pursue happiness, or does it in fact happen as a result of your having done certain extremely desirable things for you? Suddenly we realize that that's not quite an accurate capturing of that third thing. The pursuit of property is a kind of limitation as well. There are other things that we want to pursue. All that enters our minds as an invocation of positive things that we can add to that preamble. And we can also think in those terms about all men are created equal. The major writer of that text, who happened to be Thomas Jefferson, one of the great leaders of America at the time, was a slave holder. George Washington, who would become the major general leading the American troops, was a slave holder. They did not believe that all men were created equal. They were clearly wrong. Members of the northern states were against slavery, many of them. Benjamin Franklin was against slavery. But the result of that difference of position was that the 13 states to be could not come together. They couldn't form an agreement. And Franklin, compromising, said, let's allow slavery to exist and hope that down the line, people see things differently. So when we form a constitution, which in a short while they did, we will allow slavery to exist in that text, but we will add to that text amendments. The first 10 of them, you know. There's room in that set of amendments for changes to the original agreement. Oh my goodness. In fact, the 13th and 14th Amendments, approached during the time of Abraham Lincoln, the greatest president in my eyes in the history of the country, freeze the slaves. And indeed, there's a desire on the part of many leaders for women to be understood to be equal. They are equal, we now know, with vast differences, many of which I find delightful. And so we have a movement in the history of the country. Amendments to the great Constitution to make it better than it was. And then laws in support of those various amendments to make things better than they were before. In the 50s, under President Eisenhower, Black children had to be allowed to enter, in quotes, white schools. Under President Johnson, putting into legal effect the proposals of Hubert Humphrey in the 1940s, which John Kennedy correctly wanted to have made into laws, made people of color, black, brown, yellow, made people of color legal equals to the rest of American humanity. We now have to make them social and economic equals as well. I look forward to that with anticipatory delight. Thanks for being with me.